I'm Elijah Edwards, Commissioner of NWL, and welcome to the weekly Wiffle podcast, the NWL Wiffle Ball podcast. I'm joined today by Nathan Scott. Introduce yourself.
I'm Nathan Scott, captain of the South Street Heat.
And I'm also here. I'm J-Mo. I used to be the captain of the South Street Heat. We were actually the Hawaii Heat. It was a lot cooler then. But,
Sure.
now my team can actually compete. So, welcome aboard, Nathan. Glad to have you.
I don't really feel the need to introduce myself, but just in case you don't know who I am, I run the league, but I'm also the captain of the Winchester Warriors. We won back-to-back titles.
Oh, really?
Looking to win a third one this season. But
Is-
now that we're...
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I almost forgot.
Okay.
Nice.
This podcast will be uploaded every Saturday night right before our series on Sunday night. Look forward to some weekly Wiffle. The first topic we'll get into is the most recent trade between the Biscuit Bashers and the the Heavy Hitters, in which the Hitters traded Connor Golterman to the Bashers for Nick Ivey, a first-round draft pick, and some money. Go to Nathan first. What do you think of this trade?
I think it's kind of a bust trade because
For
Nick. I think the Hitters won that trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Connor, he doesn't show up much, but I do think whenever he does, he definitely shows out, and he's a good all-around player. How do you feel about it, Jamie?
I think it works out for both sides because, Connor wanted absolutely nothing to do with the Heavy Hitters. That's my ankle monitor. Connor wants nothing to do with the Hitters. I think he'll want to show up a lot more when he's on a winning team like the Bashers. And, you saw what they did to the Commanders in the first series. They just, completely beat them up. And so I think seeing something like that could inspire Connor to want to be there for a new team. And you look at what the return the Hitters get there. They get the Bashers pick, which I think could be big in the next draft. And then Nick Ivey, who's, he's shown in the past, he's a really talented player. Now, will he want to show up for Teddy? Probably not. But if he's there, he could be an impact player. And, Teddy's broke self, he probably needs some cash too. So, I think it works out for both sides.
I personally think the Bashers really did win this trade. I mean, you look at the Bashers so far this season. We'll get into the Hitter series in a little bit, but you look at their lineup of Henry Hedrick, Carson Trotter, and Reese Davis. You got three power threats in that lineup right there. Henry is an early MVP candidate. Carson having the best season of his career so far. We know Reese can hit some bombs. And I think adding Connor to that already stacked lineup makes them easily the best offense in the league, in my opinion. And also adds some pitching depth that has really been their big issue the first two seasons. That's what they need to be a contender. So I think, honestly, this trade, I would say, makes the Bashers my World Series favorite this early into the season. The Hitters, I think they got worse through this trade. So I would say that it's more beneficial to the Bashers.
I think the main thing that the trade probably shows is that the Hitters are kind of giving up on the rest of their season.
Yeah.
Any
The Hitters have
talent that they had
definitely
on
gone
the
into a
roster,
rebuild
it's
mode.
kind of, they had their shot there in season one, and we're going to see them rebuilding here for the future. But they should have a good draft coming up, and hopefully they'll get it together.
Yeah.
Well, now we have just talked about the trade. Let's recap the series. J-Mo, you were not there. The video will be up when this is posted. But Bashers Hitters series, the Bashers and Hitters when they play it's always fun. The last time they played, we saw our first ever quote unquote fight between Tyler Jacobson and Eli Shellnut. Saw some suspensions there. Rain game. It was a crazy series, and I think this year was a solid series, but the Bashers, they're just dominating teams right now. What do you all have to say about the Bashers and Hitters series?
Back to the topic about the fight.
Oh, okay.
Who do y'all really think started that fight? Was it Eli throwing the rock or Tyler?
I'd say Mr. Shellnut was an aggressor throughout the entire
Definitely.
series there, and had it not been for his cumulative actions, then there would have been no altercation.
But I talked to Eli after. He said he wasn't aiming for Tyler,
He was aiming for the strike zone.
He was aiming for the strike zone, but I don't think the rock should have been thrown.
But let's be honest,
shouldn't have been thrown in the first place.
He shouldn't be throwing a rock in the middle of the game.
But I think that also speaks to the poor quality of our league, though, and the fact that he was having to throw a rock because he was bored while playing.
Yeah.
He should have been more engaged in the action on the field.
Well, he was subbing in that game. He wasn't even on the team.
But still, you got to have that drive and that determination no matter who you're playing for. You're on the field, you're trying to showcase, you're trying to get that big signing bonus for next season. And I think he just didn't care enough and was bored.
J-Mo.
Well, anyway.
No, let's move past that. If you want to go check that out, it's a pretty funny.
The title's Wiffle Ball Fight! In all caps.
Personally,
so it's hard to miss.
That was my favorite series of last year.
It probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Ty.
Basher sweep. What do we have to say about that?
I mean, that's to be expected, you know.
Bashers are really a powerhouse this season. At this point, I don't think they really can be stopped unless...
Well, I mean, they'll truly be tested in their next series against the Eagles, who are 4-2 at the moment. But I mean, you look at the teams they played. Yeah, they're 6-0, but this is the only debate I think that could be made about the Bashers not being legit. Is their opponents have a combined record of 0-12?
Yeah,
so
they've kind of been Mickey series, but they really have showed out. They've showed that they are contenders. They are powerhouses of the league.
Yeah, J-Mo, you got anything to add?
I mean, if their opponents have a combined record of 0-12, but both of them played the Bashers, then, a lot of those losses could be attributed to them playing the Bashers,
True.
But, on a more serious note, yeah, I mean, their series over the course of the league have been some of the best that we've had. And, with how close Henry Hedrick and Teddy Piper are to... they're going to go out there and they're going to give their all to try to beat each other, and they're some of our most competitive players. So they always bring their best out for each other.
Yeah, those two teams, even after the Bashers sweep, they've played each other in 12 games, and the Bashers lead those 12 games. They have 7 wins and 5 losses against the Hitters. So it's one of the more balanced matchups in the league, so it's always fun to watch them play. Even though there was a mercy that series, it was still fun to watch, in my opinion. And we'll talk about the series next week, the Heat and Commanders, preview that series. But before we get into that, let's talk about the South Street Heat. Going into this season, they added on Nathan Scott, a superstar in the league, to captain the team. He's with us right now. And then drafted CJ Rivera, who was an MVP candidate last season. I mean, it really looked like the Heat were going to be a super team. However, they are 3-3 at the moment. What do we think? I mean, I can talk to y'all. Y'all are on the team. Well, what's going on with this team right now?
We got cool uniforms.
we do have cool uniforms. I don't think we fulfilled our expectations. We had 2 of the top teams in our first 2 series, but we've definitely been tested. But I don't think 3-3 against those 2 teams are a bad record.
I wouldn't say it's a bad record, but I would say that the majority of the league was definitely expecting more out of this team. I mean, the series against the Warriors, y'all were expected to win. Series against the Eagles, no CJ Rivera, but still 2-1 victory. I mean, just a team that was number 1 to start the season in terms of the power rankings, being 3-3 at the moment. I would think that'd be a bit disappointing for y'all.
Yeah, I don't think CJ's really been playing at his full potential right now, but I don't know what's been going on with him. People are just seeing him very well.
I mean, a lot of what could be attributed to the poor record, or not necessarily poor record, but mediocre record. We should be playing better, and a lot of that I could probably put on myself. I mean, if you watch the first 2 series, I'm just straight up a liability on the field. I mean, I can't hit, I can't make a play in the field, and I can't pitch, so I really don't know what I'm doing out there. But
I definitely think my hitting could be better, but I don't think I've been pitching that bad.
I have stats right here.
That's the best we got.
Nathan was batting 182 this season.
Yeah,
I should be batting right around 400 and 350 last season. Pitching wise, though, the numbers still don't look as good as usual, but they are solid. 2.61 ERA 2.42, WHIP 21 strikeouts, which is upon top 3 in the league, I believe. So, if CJ can find it, I still think this team has potential to be the best team in the league, but definitely a disappointing start. So that leads us into our next topic. The next series that will be uploaded on our YouTube will be the South Street Heat and the Camel Commanders. Heat are 3-3, Commanders are 0-6. Before I make any predictions or talk about the series, what do y'all have to say since y'all are going to be playing in the series?
I think this is a series for us to pick the record back up.
Definitely.
And, if it doesn't end with a sweep, then we definitely need to feel disappointed coming out of it.
Yeah. If we don't sweep, I'm actually going to be very disappointed in myself.
Yeah, we need to command it for sure.
Definitely.
Yes.
Command the Commanders.
Command the Commanders.
We're going to have CJ. I know I won't be there, but
Yeah.
we're going to have CJ. Hopefully he can get back on track, show out a little bit.
Definitely.
Holy, that's a lot of body armor. Let me snag one.
Teddy has a lot of body armor in his fridge. Speaking of which, that's the location of this. We're in Teddy's basement right now.
Pink.
Teddy's basement is a W.
It's NWLHQ.
It is.
Yes.
My pizza's done.
Those who watch don't see the
That's actually my
behind-the-scenes
ankle
stuff,
monitor.
but where we have our managers meetings and what's not
The
is
season 1 awards.
in the season 1 awards. That is Teddy Piper's
And the 30 for 30.
That's that never happened. But yeah, I'd have to say I'm gonna make it. Okay. I'll make a prediction on the series. Y'all can't really make a prediction. You are playing in it, but I'll have to go with the Heat sweep here. Yeah, they've started disappointing, but you look at the Commanders. I mean, they gave the Warriors a run for their money last week, but at the same time, I mean, they've proven that they're not exactly a force to be reckoned with. However, the Heat, I think they're coming into this series looking to pick up some momentum, something to prove this series, and going into the All-Star break 6-3 would be a good spot for them going into the second half. So
Who do the Commanders have shown up?
James Weatherford, Captain Jordan Roche, and Jack Piper.
Ryan Brooks.
And Ryan. Oh, thanks for reminding me, JMO.
Oh yeah, new rookie.
Ricky Ryan Brooks.
Yeah, that is something that.
I'm excited to see him play.
Yep, the Commanders recently picked up Ryan Brooks, who will be making his league debut against the Heat. But like I said, I still have a Heat sweep. I don't think that'll make much of an impact, but we'll have to see how the series plays out. We'll move on to our next topic here. Recently announced an addition to NWL's All-Star Weekend, the All Fun Game, which is branched off of MLW's All Fun Game, where they had some characters come out and play just for fun, but there's a bit of a spin on our game, which I'll get into in a little bit. What do y'all think of the introduction of the All Fun game?
Firstly, for those who don't know, MLW is a Major League Wiffle, for those who don't know. Because I know most people that follow our page are loyal wiffle ball watchers of our
Exactly.
page and might not know some of the smaller leagues out there.
They probably don't even know who MLW is.
No, they shouldn't.
They're honestly irrelevant.
Yeah.
Jack.
Jack Piper, just
special guest
walked
Jack
out.
Piper. But the All Fun Game. Well, what's the plan for that?
Well, I'll explain it. This is open to change, but it'll be 4-inning game with players voted into it. Every inning will have a different kind of scenario. The first inning, the runners will have to run in reverse, meaning third base will be first base and first base will be third base. So that'll be a fun thing to play with. The second inning will be the opposite-handed inning, or no, anything but a bat. That's what we're doing. So basically, the hitters have to hit with something that is not a bat. They can choose anything. It can literally be anything, but it can't be a bat.
You saw some 2x4 usage in the Heat Eagle series.
That idea branched off from the Heat Eagle series, where we saw JMO hit with a stick and some other
Dylan,
players hit with a
I was definitely
board.
not.
And Dylan had a 2x4.
I was
and
definitely
used it.
not happy about you using that stick, but
I mean,
it's okay. It's okay.
I wasn't hitting nothing anyway. Let's be real here, homie.
No, I think you had a few hits.
Oh, I mean, that was off of. I had one hit, and that's when Kish started lobbing, right? Yeah.
Nice.
So
Hey, a hit's a hit. So.
Well, as I continue here, the third inning will be the opposite-handed inning, where just everybody in the field, if they're left-handed, they have to throw right-handed. If they're right-handed, they have to throw left-handed. Same thing hitting. If they are right-handed, they have to throw left-handed. And so on. So, in the fourth inning will be played out as normal. I think that has potential to be a good all-star event we added last year.
Nice voice crack.
timestamp.
We added last year.
Do not timestamp that. Keep it in.
We added the skills challenge last year. I think that was a success. We're keeping that around this year, and maybe adding the all-fun game will just make it that much more fun. No pun intended. But as we move on here, you will see this in the video tomorrow, but we are proud to announce that we are now sponsored by W Energy. They have all kinds of fun energy blends with a variety of good flavors. Push and Punch, Dragonade. Our favorite is being flavor being Big Energy Tears, which is basically blue raspberry, but they got 150 milligrams of caffeine, all kinds of good vitamins in there for you gym geeks or gamers. You will love W Energy. We do. Use our discount code Nearby Wiffle for 10% off your order. So yeah, they're a great company. We're very proud to be sponsored by them. The next topic we'll move into here are the heavy hitters. Talk about their demise as a team. You know, the first season they surprised everybody and made the World Series. And the second season. Had a decent regular season, but after losing that last series to the Bashers, they lost in the wild card series to the Eagles. And this season, you know, they were coming into it hoping to be competitive again, and it's gone all downhill. They get swept by the Eagles, and they've been swept by the Bashers. They've had some brutal losses, a couple mercies in there. What's going wrong with this hitters team right now?
You know, I think Captain Teddy Piper, after that first series against the Eagles, I think he's really just given up on the season. That's what it seems to look like. I know y'all can agree with me.
I mean, yeah, the main problem you see is in the captain position there.
There's a lack of effort.
With Teddy. I mean, he just, I wouldn't say a lack of effort, more just a lack of confidence. You know, he kind of, as soon as he starts going, as soon as things aren't looking great, he just kind of tends to throw in the towel, maybe prematurely a lot of times. And not only that, but just, you know, not being he's a solid enough hitter, but not good enough to carry a team offensively. So you typically see the heavy hitters struggle on offense. And yeah, just a fact, you know, he gets easily distracted, easily injured, and just overall, it's kind of the effort has gone down from season one. I mean, it's kind of demoralizing to, you know, have a nice little roster going into the season one World Series, and then to just get utterly dominated like he was by y'all two, and then things just kind of went downhill from there. So,
yeah, I gotta say it almost looks like Teddy's going into tank mode right now for hopefully a higher draft pick.
A rebuild season.
Rebuild, yeah. And I definitely think it's time to hit the brakes and go in for a rebuild. You look at their roster, it's almost like a lot of Atlanta Hawks teams that we've seen, a bunch of role players that can't really push the team for a championship. And Teddy is a solid player. I think if he had a good team around him, the hitters could definitely be competitive. And we've seen it in the past when he had Dylan Nemeth. Season 1, they made the World Series. So I don't know.
he needs to make a blockbuster trade for a big-time superstar.
Really, that's all he needs. If Teddy can just get a superstar beside him, then he would really be set. But guys like Ian McDaniel, even Nick Ivey a little bit, those guys are good role players, I would say, for certain teams, but they're not gonna help a team win a championship.
Yeah, they're not top tier level.
No.
Yeah.
But
it's also kind of the curse of Ty Sudduth. You see, I mean, it just overall brought, you know, bad energy to that organization, and a lot of it could be attributed to his lack of talent, effort, and likability.
Basically, he's
his likability.
He's just there. He's there just to be a spot.
We hope you all know that we're not like brutally criticizing people. These are all our friends, so don't think we're especially J-Mo. He doesn't hold back. Oh my God.
I say what I mean.
Move on to the next topic here. Talk about the Eastlake Eagles. Last season they started out 2-7, but ever since Carson Kish has taken over this team, it almost seems as if this team has turned around. They went 4-2 to finish the season. They beat the Hitters in the wild card series, and they came closer than anyone ever has in the playoffs or at all to dethroning the Warriors. So, and now starting out this season, they open up with a sweep against the Hitters. Then they lost the series to the Heat, but they definitely competed, and that's a good team right there. They got Dylan Nemeth, Aaron Abke's hitting out of his mind right now. He's got a 5.45 average. Looking at this team, you think we can honestly say that they're a World Series contender?
I mean, if the team can continue to maintain this level of play throughout the season and this level of attendance, I think the Eagles, they could definitely be a World Series contender if they can keep up this level of play and have everyone, staying locked in, staying focused, and showing up to the field. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Carson Kish has been playing the best ever. I mean, I thought they were going to take a step backwards, trading away Connor Golterman, but they've seemed to maintain the level of play they were at in the second half of last season. So if I don't see my Heat, make it all the way and bounce back, I'd definitely love to see the Eastlake Eagles right there in the World Series.
Nathan?
Yeah. Eagles, I honestly don't think my Heat should have gotten that series against the Eagles. I think it was a matter of lack of pitching by Dylan Nemeth that we caught that first game.
Yeah, Dylan kind of, he fell off the rails a little bit.
He kind of sold.
Head.
He sold. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And Kish only had one arm, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, Kish was injured that series.
Yeah.
Yep, still hit a tank off of him, but
It is what it is, Co.
Back on topic here. The Eagles, I think it's should be noted that they have some guys that haven't even shown up yet. You got who was it? Ben Edge, baseball player, and Kish is actually over here at the table. Who else is on your roster?
Aaron came, Dylan came, I came. I think it's just Ben at that point.
Yeah, it's just
Is
Ben.
Ben any good?
Jimmy. Varsity at Noonan.
Yeah, Ben's a varsity baseball player, and Jimmy Hambley. How did we forget about Yimmy? Jimmy Hambley is a veteran in the league. He's shown that he can hit the ball every now and then. He's pretty much a liability in the field, but DH kind of deal.
He most recently got head tapped off the field, so I don't know if the confidence is looking too great moving forward.
He's 0 for 1 in the season.
He did de-root a tree.
Yeah, we didn't show that. But
Story time.
Story time.
I guess, yeah, that is a topic we'll get into behind the scenes that nobody saw after the Heat-Eagles series. You probably saw it at the end of the video if you watched it. Jimmy Hambley struck out for the last out of Game 3, in which Teddy Piper subbing for the Heat, Jamison Hurst, and Nathan Scott all started taunting him, the head tap. And, Jimmy didn't take too well to it, and cut away, as I said.
I threw the ball.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. I cut away, as I said, to go to the interviews, and after that, some events occurred. Teddy threw a ball at Jimmy.
No.
Jimmy threw a bat at Teddy.
No. Listen. This is actually how it started. So
Oh my gosh.
we were doing our interviews, all right, and then Jimmy he decided.
This was before the interviews.
before the
But
interviews.
before interviews, this is before the
You
interviews.
suck at telling stories.
Jimmy, he started hitting balls at us.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Teddy, he had enough of it. So he was like, he threw the ball at Jimmy. Wasn't trying to hit him in the face, but he
Smacked him in the face.
smacked him in the face.
He smacked him.
Perfect riser.
And then why can't you pitch like that in the game?
Dude, if
But,
Teddy
I think
imagined
Rose was
striking
the
at
tempers.
Jimmy's head, he'd be striking out everybody.
But then Jimmy proceeded to get a little out of control, throwing bats
Emotionally.
emotionally, threw some bats, said some words that should not have been said.
Words that we will not mention.
Exactly. But then Jimmy decides to run off, and he kicks down a tree.
I thought he didn't kick it. He pulled it out of the ground.
Oh.
It wasn't like a big tree. It was a small tree.
No,
it was
a
already
small
dead.
tree.
But he just, for whatever reason, I don't know what was going through Jimmy's head, but he decided that to take out his anger, he would grab the nearest tree and pull it out of the ground. And after he pulled it out of the ground, he walked over to the pile of other trees that are just chilling. He threw it in there and came back, still mad, yelling at Teddy, and then he went home. So he went home. That's the story.
The
there.
Lorax was down bad.
To be fair, Jimmy was having a little bit of a rough day that we will not get into.
Yeah, we won't get into the details there. That's,
but I knew
stuff.
he was having a rough day, so we gotta cut him some slack.
Yeah, Jimmy's been around a while, so move on to the next topic. The Camo Commanders. Last season, totally different cast of characters. You got Avery Butt, CJ Rivera, Dylan Nemeth managing the team. They make the World Series. They lose 3-1 to the Warriors, and then the team is practically just disbanded.
They were the first non-Warriors team to win a World Series game.
Yes, they were. It was only the second World Series, but whatever. Then Jordan Roche steps in after the draft, after going undrafted, actually. Becomes the captain of the team. Cuts Cooper Ramey, who his name was called in a video, but Jack Piper is a part of the team, his first legitimate season. James Weatherford is a part of the team. They recently signed Ryan Brooks. They also have Logan Bentz on the roster, who was actually subbing for the Commanders last season. But they're off to a... There isn't another dude. Sure? Well...
Oh, his name is, you still don't want it.
Oh, it was like
Ricardo.
Oh, Ricardo Marasoto. I forgot about him. Ricardo. As I was saying, the Commanders are 0-6 right now, and you look at the hitters, they're 0-6, but it almost seems like they have a sense of direction. Teddy seems like he's going into rebuild mode, but you look at the Camo Commanders, they really haven't done anything. There seems to be no sense of direction. I mean, what can this Commanders team do to become competitive?
I think they're just kind of doing their own thing right now. They have Jack Piper, who I think is the ace of the team. The ace.
Well, actually, let's pull out his ERA real quick.
and then there's James Weatherford, who he's actually not a bad pitcher.
He's
James-
my vote for most dedicated through 6 games.
Jack has a 39 ERA right now. I don't think he's the ace of the team.
What is James?
James is a 6.92 ERA, which is
never mind.
James is
James is
solid.
the ace.
which is it's not great, but it's the best the team has to offer.
But I definitely think Jack is the best hitter.
Yeah, I mean, Jack. You look at Jack. He could be a good role player on an elite team, but the Commanders as a whole, it's like they don't.
They don't care.
First of all, they don't have a sense of identity, and secondly, like I just said, their captain Jordan Roche. I think he's done an okay job managing the team, but he hasn't really made any moves. I don't know what his plan is for the future. I mean, if they tank this season, which I think they're doing unintentionally right now, they could get a first pick. But I don't think that one pick is going to change the team as a whole. I mean,
Yeah.
Jay, do you have any suggestions for this team to do?
I think
get
step
somewhere?
one for them is to go pick up some outside talent from free agency, and they did that with the addition of Ryan Brooks. We'll see how he performs in the series coming up against the Heat. But yeah, this is definitely not going to be a competitive year for them. It's kind of it's mostly all new players with the exception of Jack, so they can all just kind of play this season, see what it's like, and then they should be back for season 4, and they'll have more knowledge, get a clean slate, and let's see what they do from there. But I mean, yeah, they get a top draft pick, they can bring in some talent there. Hopefully, they'll show up for them, and see what they do. I do have one theoretical question to throw out there, though,
Here we
for
go, Jamo.
our podcast guys. If you throw Teddy Piper on the Commanders, is that team better than the current heavy hitters?
No, not at all.
No.
I actually think that's a good bit worse still than the hitters.
Definitely, because
Because the hitters have
Ian-
solid players. They just
Ian
don't.
McDaniel was a solid hitter.
Yeah, Ian hits.
Ty?
Plays the field okay.
Not so much.
He's not on the team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kyle Byrne, he showed promise. He has a solid swing. He just needs to start putting the bat on the ball.
He showed promise at the.
Avery's on. Oh, that's right. Avery Butts is on the roster. He hasn't shown up
Thank you
yet.
for cutting me off.
But no, Avery's good. I'll let you continue.
Derek Z, who's not on the team, but he's pretty much on the team.
Yeah.
Good question, J-Mo. But as he
Yeah, but it
mentioned,
wasn't, I guess.
he said season 4. That's an announcement. I guess I'll go ahead and make on the pod real quick. There will be a season 4. In terms of our timeline, it'll be starting April 30th. In terms of your timeline, it'll be starting in July. And that's not even meant to be a joke. That's legitimately what the the upload schedule looks like right now.
Stay tuned, fellas.
Please don't leave.
But
we need y'all.
yeah, season 4 is
All the
official in
potential
terms of
listeners.
the rest of the future of the league. That'll be saved for an announcement further in the future. The last topic we'll talk about, the last team in the league to talk about, is the Winchester Warriors. They won back-to-back titles, but they lost Nathan Scott in the offseason to go captain the South Street Heat. And going into the season, they were third in the power rankings, but they started out the season 5-1. They actually beat the Heat in their first series, and then they went on to sweep the Commanders, which we know they're the Commanders, but they're 5-1. So is this team still a World Series contender even without Nathan on the team?
Definitely. I think Elijah is a top tier pitcher. Like, definitely. Thank you. But I don't think anybody can really hit Elijah very well. You know, he's a collegiate pitcher. He is committed.
Ignore our giggling in the background.
He's committed to Birmingham Southern to go pitch.
Yep.
What do you think, JMO?
I mean,
Big PO.
I think is we mentioned earlier how you're right now sitting with a 182 average, and that's a big drop off from what we saw last year. That can mainly be attributed to the fact that you were having to face Elijah for the first time in your career.
And to be fair, I'm also injured.
Yeah,
I'm playing on an injury.
yeah, but suck it up, champ. You're almost a grown man.
That wasn't.
Yeah, it's
And-
been foreign since like beginning of the school year.
Continue, Gemma.
But yeah, and if you look at
Shut up, Teddy.
the real lifeblood of the Winchester Warriors team, I think it's Braden Miller. When you
Dude, we
think
gotta
about-
talk about that.
But when you think about it, I mean, he was the number 3 overall selection in our inaugural draft, and I mean, he's just been a part of it from the beginning. He brings chemistry, he brings good vibes to the field, and I think the impact that he has on the team. I mean, obviously Elijah's the top player out there, but the impact that Braden has there is something to be considered, and the fact that they play, as a group of friends, and they go out there and they have chemistry, which not a lot of other teams can say.
Yeah, I think Braden is a valuable asset on the team. We saw in his last series, though, is Braden a most improved candidate? 2
Definitely.
home runs.
2 home runs.
So far. He's playing the Commanders.
Got to throw in there. Well,
he-
Braden didn't have a single hit in season 2, and then comes into season 3. He's batting above 200 right now, which is not really saying much, but for Braden, that's much
really
better than
good.
what we've seen in the
That's
past
really
from him.
good.
And 2 home runs, not just 2 home runs, one of which we were down by 2 in the last inning, only 2 outs to go, and he tied up the game with a home run. So, yeah, I agree with you, J-Mo. Braden is a big asset on the team, and not only that, he cares a lot more than what you see on camera. Every time I'm with him, he's giving me advice on what to do with the team, even about players that we're going to try and pick up. And so I'd like to say as well that I think we're a World Series contender still.
And if he goes out and he has some offensive production against more competitive pitching, then I think most definitely he's deserving of the most improved award.
Definitely.
Well, I think we'll go into one last topic here. Early World Series predictions.
Nathan?
Nathan, go first.
I have the Bashers making the World Series, definitely. I don't know who to go with as the other team, but
Better figure it out quick.
I definitely don't think my Heat are going to make the World Series with the way we're playing right now. But the Eagles and the Warriors definitely have a good shot at making the World Series and possibly even winning it. What about you, Gemma?
What's your prediction?
I got Bashers winning the World Series.
Against?
Again, I don't know.
All right, J-Mo, what's your prediction?
I think it's going to be the Warriors and the Heat, just because, like I said in our first ever podcast that never got uploaded, the league can never have nice things, and Elijah and Nathan are both going to be around come playoff time, and they're the only ones so far that have proven that they're winners in the playoffs, and I think we'll see them two again in the World Series, and I'm going to go with the Heat winning just because, this is our season, And if you look at the overall roster, we're going to get it together. We're just more talented. We have more pitching, and I think we can pull one out.
I definitely think a Warriors Heat World Series would be the storybook ending to this season. After
It's scripted.
Nathan, I'm saying that would be
our whole season is scripted.
good World
Probably,
Series
honestly.
matchup, but sadly, I don't think that's how it's going to end. I have the Biscuit Bashers going off against the Eastlake Eagles in the World Series. Believe it or not, I don't think it's harsh to say, or not harsh to say. I don't really think that's a bold prediction in my opinion. The Bashers are dominating teams right now. We'll actually see this matchup soon. The Eagles, I think they have a loaded roster. And unbiasedly, I can say a Bashers Eagles World Series is probably the most what's the word I'm looking for here? Most probable World Series at the moment. And in that series, it's tough to say who'd win, but I think just based off the playoff success they had last season, I would go with Eagles in 4 in this series, actually. I think Henry, he's struggled in the playoffs in the past a lot. And Golterman had a really good Game 3 against the Warriors last season, but he ended up walking a lot of guys towards the end of the game, and that ended up losing them the series. So, yeah.
I think in a potential Bashers-Eagles series, too, what you'd most likely end up seeing is if Connor's there, his heart still lies with Eastlake. And he may not put his best out there on the field if he's going up against his best buds back there with the Eagles. I mean, he probably should have never been traded to the hitters in the first place. And this Eagles team could be looking possibly a lot better if they held on to Connor there.
Yeah. I think the Eagles trading away Connor could be crucial because if they had Connor, Kish, and Dylan, and Aaron. That's a super squad. Oh yeah, that's right. Cut that out.
Moron.
You want to throw hands?
You have a torn labrum, buddy.
Yeah, I
Throw you
know.
out the window, I'll tear your other one.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, get up. I'd like to see you.
You messed up a perfectly nice table. I don't want to hear it.
As I was saying,
I didn't mean
I think the
to.
Eagles are my World Series favorites right now. You look at Dylan Nemeth, he's a superstar in the league. I think he's an upgrade from Connor Golterman, actually. Aaron Abke is having a much better season than last. He's hitting the ball really well. Even Carson Kish, he's pitching better than last year. He's hitting better than last year. He may even be an early MVP candidate himself. And we're yet to see Ben Edge. I mean, that is a loaded roster that I think is right now set up to win the World Series. And Jimmy.
Quit forgetting about Jimmy.
Actually, now that I think about it, if Jimmy's on the team, they might lose.
We love Jimmy. We love Yimmy. All hate towards Yimmy is like we're buds.
It's confidential.
I mean, I think what we saw is that the Eagles franchise and the Hitters franchise both just started going downhill from the moment Jimmy got drafted first overall.
Yeah.
What?
I still don't get that. Why was Jimmy drafted first overall?
And Jimmy Hambley was the first
Why
ever
was I
picked.
drafted ahead of Nathan?
A lot of people were drafted ahead of him.
6 people were. I think like 3 of which aren't even in the league anymore.
It was Jimmy, and then Preston,
Not in the league anymore.
and then
Braden?
Braden, Nathan Murray,
Not in the league anymore.
then me,
Yep.
then Nathan.
Nope.
Nope.
Nathan
Still
was
one more.
6.
Nathan was 7.
Nathan was
I
7.
was 7.
6 was just freaking. It would have been the.
Was it Carson?
Nathan was 6.
No, he was 7.
No, I was-
I'm pretty sure he was
the
7.
captain.
Carson was the guy.
Oh yeah, he was the captain. He was the one doing the drafting.
Yeah. No, because Carson had back-to-back at 4 and 5. You got
Maybe
Nathan and me.
maybe he was 6.
Yeah, Nathan was 6 because the
My-
Warriors
no,
had the
Tim
third
was
pick,
later
so
in the
Nathan
draft.
would. Yes, the Warriors' second-round pick would have been 6. So that's Nathan. Cage went to the Bashers at 7.
Yeah.
So Nathan.
Why
was
do you
6.
remember this?
He
That's
has-
an
he
OG.
has good
Dylan
numbers.
went
OG
8.
fan.
Dylan went 8, and then we had
Derek
Derek at
Voltage.
9 somehow. And
Derek was
Harold
a
went
captain.
12.
Yeah, he was last.
He was last.
He had a 1 out of 5 stars.
And he's still in the league, by the way.
He
Mr.
is.
Relevant.
I think he was definitely underrated in
And
that
Tim
draft.
went 11.
Yeah. No, Tim was 11.
Yeah.
Harold was
Tim
12.
11. Harold was 12.
Not in the league
He was
anymore.
10.
Tim.
Yeah, Tim was 11. We just said that.
10 was. Yeah.
We don't know.
Was it Brad? Because it was my team.
Yeah, it was the Warriors. Yeah. Older brother of Ben Edge.
No,
No.
he's actually not. He's not.
He's the older
I thought we
brother
had our
of
second brother duo of the
No,
NWO.
no.
What's the other? Oh,
Teddy and Jack.
He is older brother of the wrestler Bryson Edge.
There's a wrestler named Bryson Edge.
They're brothers.
Is he good at edging?
He is.
we're now right around the 45-minute mark, so we're gonna wrap this up. I think it was a successful first podcast to us talking.
Yeah.
Next week we'll have some more fun topics, topics that aren't just all wiffle ball.
And even a special guest.
And yeah, we'll have a special guest next week from the Heat Commander series. Yeah,
Ryan
thanks.
Brooks?
Maybe Ryan Brooks. Maybe we'll get a celebrity on here someday. That'd be nice.
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian on Weekly Wiffle. See what she has
Kyle
to say about our
Schultz.
lovely
Daniel
looking young men
Schultz.
in the league.
I like him.
Jimmy Nor.
Get an We could try and get an MLW player.
Yeah, they're gonna fly down here.
No, but I mean, like we could like FaceTime them or something.
Yeah, if we get their number.
I mean,
We're gonna
wrap this
Sorry,
up.
yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see y'all
Next Saturday.
next Saturday for our second podcast.
love you.
Later.